What do we do in this respect now? Because we have practically lost it. You know, the youths are not following the ways of the leaders, and leadership is not exemplary in Nigeria anymore.
No, I think we haven't lost it all. We've lost it. We've lost a bit of it. We must make sure that we do not lose it all. And what should we do? I did something in my village. When I became head of state, in 1977, I decided to go to my village. I left the village in 1952. But I didn't go back there.
At all.
Yeah. So between 1952 and 1977, I didn't go to the village. I didn't go back to the village. So I went in how long was that? 25
Like
25 years.
So that was 23 years.
Huh?
23.
22 years.
25 years.
25 years, okay. That's a quarter of a century. So I went to my village, and what did I see? I saw the eclipse of a community. The village was dying.
Yeah.
The village was dying. And I spent the night there as military head of state. Ayo Balogun was the governor here. And Ayo said he couldn't stay with me. I said, don't worry, you go back. And then I thought, what could we do? So I had a cousin who had just retired from the army. He went to the war front, he joined the army, went to the war front, and retired as a corporal, was living in Lagos. So I called him. I said, look, I want you to return to the village. He said, me? I said, yes. I said, what for? I said, well, if you return, maybe we'll stand a chance of reviving the village. Like that. His wife, with whom he was living in Lagos, then said, look, he can go, but she will not go with him to the village. So my cousin said, all right, since you have asked me to go, I will go. And I pleaded with the wife. The wife said he won't go. Okay. A year later, I had another cousin who was, no, I think it's me.
Okay. Oh, sorry. But sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, don't worry, don't worry. A year later, I had another cousin to go. And that was the beginning of revival of our village. The village today is, we have a secondary school. Today, we have a secondary school in the village. We started the secondary school September last year. And in the first year, they have 157 students in forms 1 and 2. What I'm saying is that I think we need to have a moral and cultural rearmament. Moral and cultural rearmament. I think you understand what I mean by that. Now, there's so much good in our culture that we shouldn't just throw it away. Even our language is so rich. Look, our Muslim brothers will say 99 names of God. The Christians will say 50 names of God. Elohim, El this, El that.
El Shaddai.
El Shaddai, and all that. Look, the Yorubas have over 1,000 names of God.
Yes.
Beautiful language. Ọlọ́wọ́ gbogbo ọ̀rọ̀ tí yọmọ ẹ lọ́fìn. You cannot even translate it to English.
Yeah.
Now, but they are so beautiful, so nice. And I believe that is part of what we should do. The Yorubas have over 1,000 names of God.
Yes.
Beautiful language. Ọlọ́wọ́ gbogbo ọ̀rọ̀ tí yọmọ ẹ lọ́fìn. You cannot even translate it to English.
Yeah.
Now, but they are so beautiful, so nice. And I believe that is part of what we should do, what I call. I have a daughter married to an Englishman. And what delights me was both my daughter and the husband, they want their two sons to learn Yoruba. And it is really, we have to go. Now, there was a time when I was growing up, and when in early 50s and things and 50s, when they say, you are punished for speaking vernacular.
Yes.
A friend of mine, a distinguished university professor, said to me, it was when his son got to UK and wrote to him and said, look, the people here don't want to know how well I speak English. I may speak English like the Queen. That's not what they want to know about me. What they want to know about me is what is authentically Yoruba. What is authentically Yoruba? You can quote Shakespeare. That's not. But what they want to learn is what is authentically Yoruba. And we shouldn't throw that away.
Especially now that our language is going through extinction.
But
Our language is going through extinction.
no, not really. I think some people have tried to to try and modernize it in a way. For instance, the thing that we used to have signs up and down, they have done it in now air. You used to, in my days, this sign that you know that your air is long air. But now they actually write two airs to show that you are prolonging the air. I think that sort of thing, and even the Bible, have been written in what I would call modern Yoruba. I think that sort of thing. I've just written a foreword, and you will be surprised that I wrote it even in Yoruba, to a book written by a bishop in Yoruba. And I think we need to encourage more of that. Let us do whatever we can in Yoruba. Because of the tonal nature of Yoruba, it's not easy. But like I said earlier on, those fables, those stories, I have written about 12 stories of tortoise, which I found, and people find it very, very interesting. It teaches moral, and they are all of Yoruba, I think. And in fact, I wrote it in English. It's translated into French, Yoruba, and Hausa, and it's been sold as published in those 5 languages.
Yes.
And when people read it, whether you read it in French or in English or in Hausa or in Igbo or whatever, people say, oh, this is very good. Now, let us have more of that type of thing. Let us extol our culture. There are the ones in our culture that are bad, but culture is not static. Culture is dynamic. And take the one that you think is not good, throw it away. The one that is good, extol it.
Yeah.
And culture is also very, a lot comes in. For instance, our dress, our food, our songs, even the Yoruba language itself. Danshiki is not originally Yoruba. It's Hausa. Gambari is not originally Yoruba. And then you have things like that. Let us absorb whatever needs to be absorbed to modernize our culture. But to me, that I think a lot that we can do and we must do.
With what you are saying now, is there any hope for the Yorubas?
Oh yes, oh yes. Yoruba as a language, there's hope.
Yoruba people.
Yoruba as people, look, when you take the Yorubas in Nigeria, in our neighboring countries of Republic of Benin and Togo, those that are in diaspora of old, those that are in Bahia, in Brazil, those that are in Cuba, and those that are what I would call latest or the young ones in diaspora. I mean, they probably went since the end of the Second World War. Those are the ones I'm talking about as young. Now, you will be talking of people who are well over 50 million. Now, 50 million people, and you say there's no hope for them? Well, I wonder then for whom is there hope?
This brings me
Okay,
to something
all right.
very, very important. You cannot write the history of Nigeria, in fact Africa, without His Excellency's name. People have said that, you know, you were the first Nigerian to be military president, you were handed over, and then you were democratically elected twice. Now, and that has kind of paved the way for some Yoruba sons and, oh yes, let's say Yoruba sons, to get to that leadership cadre. In the committee, in the polity today, that it was because, you know, you paved the way, you know, at that level, that was what kind of opened up the gate for them to swim. Now, in the polity today, you have about 4 names from the Southwest, from Abeokuta, or from Ogun State, you know, at the forefront. Would you say that it is true that your being there at the forefront must have rubbed off, you know, on them being in the limelight?
Inspire them.
What?
I mean, something that inspire them.
I will not say yes and I will not say no. Let me bring in a joke here. The Lagos people, they don't understand Yoruba proverbs very well. And so there's this joke that in school, in Lagos, they have this exam in Yoruba and say, complete these proverbs. And they say, Eshinwaju, Enijin Sokoto. That's
Right,
that.
Yoruba.
So the Lagos boy said, Eshinwaju Logbe first. No. The point really is that there may be a little bit of bandwagon effect. There may be. And Eshinwaju, as the Yoruba said, you give a sort of, you pave the way. Eshinwaju niteyin wosare. The first you pave the way, and this also the thing that I have said to people, and some people don't pay attention to this. When you are in a position of leadership, don't think only of today. Think also of tomorrow, because the people will make you a reference point. How did he perform? How did he do? What did he do? And in future, people will refer to it. For one thing, I have no mind for malice. I cannot even think of malice. Okay? And then when I have a job to do, I sink myself into it. Okay. Now, people who work with me, it doesn't matter where they come from. They still remember what we did together. That there is no question of favoritism. There's no question of, oh yes, this is my kith and kin. Or there's no question of, this is my personal interest. I never say that we didn't make mistake or we were perfect. But whatever mistake we make is a genuine mistake. It's not mistake that is born out of selfishness, self-centeredness. Some Yorubas have come to me and said, you didn't do enough for the Yorubas when you were there. I said, yes. But did I do for Nigeria? I said, yes, you did. But Yorubas, are they part of Nigeria? I said, yes. Okay, if I did as much as I could do for Nigeria, and Yorubas are part of Nigeria, then I have done for Yorubas as well as I have done for Igbos, or for Hausas, or for Ibibos. Now, I think that must be the thing that must guide us. Yes, well, what is my guiding principle in Nigeria? When people talk to me now, I say, look, you know, I don't, of course, I became president on the platform of PDP, but you know now that I'm not a PDP man, I'm not an APC man, even I'm not an ADC man. But if you ask for what is my party, I will say Nigeria is my party. And the point you must bear in mind, and we all must bear in mind, is that this country can be a great country. We have everything to make this country great, and that is what always worried me. That look, when you see what we can do, how we can do it, and we are not doing it. And that is really unfortunate. Can we get out of it? I believe we can. Look, all we need is one generation of consistent leadership. One generation, 25 years, we will be there. That's all we need. One generation of the right leadership consistently. If we are growing at the rate of 2 digits, 10, 11, 12%, which we can do, what that means is that every 7 years we are doubling. So if we are 100 this year, in 7 years' time we are 200. Our growth, economic. In 14 years we are 400. In 21 years we are 800. We are there. That's what we need.
Okay, finally, sir, have you shared this with our leaders? This is your thoughts. Have you shared it with our leaders?
Do your leaders want to? They want to share anything? Do they want to share anything?
Look,
If you are a leader,
yes, sir.
as I always say, a good leader must be a good reader. That's number one. You must be inquisitive. Here is Kennedy. It's one of the boys who work with me. At times I say, what do you think of this? Because he may have his ears where I cannot have my ears. So listening to him may be advantageous. But if I close my ears and I close my door, and I will not go about and say, come and listen to me. That's not my job.
Your doors are open. Your doors are open for inquiry, for advice.
Very open.
On the final note that day, I want us to share with us, let's just say 2 secrets that have enabled you to attain this position.
I've told you I don't keep malice. I can't. I don't. And there's no need. If anybody has done you the worst, leave it to God. God said, I am a jealous God. Don't revenge. Leave revenge to him. And God can do it better than you can do it. So, if you do anything to me, if it's something that I should reply, I will reply. If it's something that I should ignore, I will ignore. If it's something that I should sleep over, I will sleep over it. But I don't. That's number one. Number two, whatever may be your problem, you won't be the first to have it, and you won't be the last. Whatever it may be, you won't be the first to have it, and you won't be the last. So why must you go and do what you shouldn't do? But also remember, God has his hands in your affairs and in my affairs. God has his hands in the affairs of Nigeria. And as I said recently, we should stop tempting God. God's patience has limit of elasticity. God has given us everything we need. He's giving you everything you need. And when you sit down and think, you say, look, God has given you all that you need. God has given us all that we need in Nigeria to be a great country. What God has not given us is all, he has not given us all that we need for our greed. Our greed cannot be satisfied. But our need can easily be satisfied. And when you go on that basis, what do I want to do? What is success? I ask that. What is success? If I ask you, what is success? To me, success is I get here, I find this place not good enough. What I can do to improve on it. That is success. Not the money you have, not the houses you build, not the children you have. Because those children, some of them may not even greet you. The people you think you have helped may not even appreciate the help you have given them. But keep on doing good. I like the way Jesus Christ was described. He went about doing good. How much good can you claim you have been going about doing? How much good can I claim I have been going about doing? When some years ago I went to Singapore, and Lee Kuan Yew was my good friend. I went with about 40 African young leaders. And we said they were anxious for Lee Kuan Yew to tell them, hey, this is the magic. And you did it. And at the end of the day, Lee Kuan Yew said, there's no magic. We did a few things right, and we continue to do them right. And I said to them, that is the takeaway. What has your country done right? Even start with yourself. What have you done right? And whatever you have done right, do you continue to do them right? What has your country done right? And that time I said, look, we did right, UPE, but do we continue to do them right? Today we have over 14 million Nigerians who should be in school, children who should be in school, who are not in school. And those are Boko Haram of 15 years from now. And there's no gainsaying that. You know it. But can we do? Is anybody looking at that and saying, look, if you decide within 1 year and say, look, we will have, you don't need to build any more schools. Just say there will be morning in those places, there will be morning session and afternoon session. Morning session from 7:30 to 12:30, 5 hours. Afternoon section from 1 to 6, 5 hours. Teachers, you will get 50% more for your salary. You don't even, so you have 6 years to do that, and then in those 6 years, you work out the transition from primary to secondary. And you put that behind you. Somebody said, well, they won't have good education. I said, President Kagame, the president of Rwanda, told me when he was going to school, he has no slate. He was writing with Kandahar on his thigh. So, poor education at that level is better than no education at all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.